What's up guys, welcome back to Mindful May. I just found out that I was chosen to pattern test this new pattern that came out and I'm really excited about it. This is my second time being chosen as a pattern tester and this is my first actual garment that I'm making. The first time I tested a pattern, it was for a Christmas stocking that I featured in this video, but this will be my first garment. So I'm excited. I'm planning to get the pattern printed today and go pick that up. And then my plan is to choose fabric that I already have in my stash instead of buying new fabric because as you can see, I have fabric. So something should work, even though it's tempting to go buy something new. I shouldn't do it. I should use what I have and I'm excited. The blouse is really beautiful. This is called the Rosewyn pattern by Gold and Sky and this is my second pattern by her. I made her Augusta skirt and I covered that in my sewing plans video. I feel like everything she makes is just so beautiful, so delicate, and she takes inspiration from like the Victorian era. They're really pretty. So whenever the pattern launches, I will link it below so you guys can check it out. But let's get this process started. It is raining a lot outside, but I got my prints. And thankfully they didn't get very wet. I'm so excited. This was $8.11 to print 3 of the A0 sheets. So not a bad deal. Next, I need to pick out which fabric I want to use. Okie dokie guys, today is day 1 of working on the Rosewyn top. I got the pattern printed out and I signed up to test for view B, which is the blouse. And based on my measurements, I am a size 6, so I'm going to cut out the size 6 and then see what fabric I already have in my stash that will be enough to make the pattern with. I have a few in mind and one that I really want to work, but I've already made several things with it and I don't know if I have enough. So this linen would be my ideal choice, but I know it has some thin spots and some holes in it. It was a duvet that I thrifted, gosh, now like 2 years ago. I've since made 2 dresses from it, one of which was my Merrymaker dress. That was kind of my muslin, and I really loved how that turned out. It's 100% linen, so it feels really nice, and then I love the colors. So here's hoping this is enough. Okay, these are all the pieces I need for view B, and then I'm just gonna make notes to myself just so I can see this a little easier, which ones I need to cut 1 of and which one I need to cut 2 of. Like the placket is just 1. This is honestly more pieces than I thought it would be. But of course, I'm just doing the blouse, so we're cutting it here. This feels like more. Now it's the true test to see if there's enough fabric. Good news, there's definitely enough fabric here. This is folded over because it is a duvet, so this is doubled. There's plenty of fabric here. I don't know what I was afraid of. I find this to be one of the harder parts of starting a project, is cutting out all the pieces and like rearranging them, especially for like florals, because I think like this is, now that I'm looking at it, this is like the right way up, I think. So I might need to flip everything, but it'll take a lot of like finagling. But I'm so glad that there's enough fabric here. I'm probably not gonna be chitty-chatting through this process. I'm just gonna put my head down and work. Creating the basting stitches down the front and backs of the tops and stopping at the mark. This is where the placket will go later for my buttons. I've got the front bodice piece facing up and then the front yoke pinned at the center and the sides. I'm going to gather this until it's the same length. Okay, I wasn't thinking that was gonna work, but it worked. So that's the front, and I'll do the same thing for the back. Now the same thing with the back yoke. Okay, it's been a couple days. My mom has been in town. I've been busy, so it's time to pick it back up. Thankfully, I think I have 2 weeks to finish it, so I'm well within the deadline, but I need to get some work done on it. Time to cut. This one was sewn a little closer together, but I don't want to take it out because the fabric is so thin. Feels like it's already just right on the edge of ripping. I think I'm gonna leave it. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I'm almost done with the placket. I've pulled the raw edges to the inside and pinned it. And then once I take off all these markings, it will look very pretty, I think. I am almost running out of my thread. All right, we're actually like moving on to assembling, so I'm excited. Putting the front and the back pieces together. This is when it starts to feel like a real project and you can see it start to take shape. So this will be the front and the back shoulder coming together. Exciting. It's starting to look so good. Now I'm doing the bias binding ties for the neckline. I think, why is this hard for me? One looks like this and one looks like this. Bias binding connection really confuses me. It's basically just a lot of ironing in this step, so I'll show you once it's done. I feel like I'm getting a facial over here with all this steam. Hot, for goodness sakes. Woo. This is looking so cute. These parts pinned, and I'm gonna start sewing the neckline on with the ties. This is so beautiful. I mean, it helps that the linen is so beautiful. It's like the most beautiful fabric I've ever worked with. And it was a duvet cover. What? I think I mentioned this in a recent video. When I'm sewing something really skinny, I like to grab a piece of paper just to get it started. So the feed dogs, which are those metal guys underneath that move the fabric along, they can pick up paper since there's not much to grab onto. And it's working splendidly. Here's how she's looking so far. Admittedly, this is a little sloppy, actually very sloppy. I just need 2 little buttons here to finish the front, and we're moving on to sleeves. I just sewed on the first sleeve and now finishing the seam. Okay, this is how it's looking right now. The one sleeve on. Now I'm taking a break to go get lunch with my mom and sisters and go thrifting. So I will finish this later. Good morning. Quick update. I sewed on the sleeve, and this morning I was thinking, oh, I could probably finish that top today, which is great because there's a deadline and there's other things I'd like to get done. And I looked down at the pattern pieces I had left and saw the ruffle and was like, oh, that was supposed to be attached to the shoulder, like in the line drawing, which I have here. These little shoulder ruffle pieces. I completely missed that. So I am either going to take the sleeve off, which sounds terrible because I have to go through serging. I would have to seam rip all of these overlock stitches, which is kind of a pain to do. And as I mentioned earlier, the linen is so fragile. I don't want to like rip it up. I'm trying to decide what to do, but I also want to be a good tester and finish it the way the pattern was made. I should probably take it out and do it the right way. Okay, yeah, that was my fault. I was looking at view A and not view B. So it actually says for view B, the first step on the sleeves is to make the cuffs. So I'm gonna start off on a project that will make me feel successful today instead of undoing the work that I did yesterday to begin. That's just for me to feel better. So I'm gonna work on making the cuffs. All right, cuffs are prepped on my ironing board. I've got my ruffle pieces. Well, shouldn't that be interesting? Oh, I see, okay. Let me just say that this is designed so well. Every time I come to a step where I'm like, why is it like this? Why does it say it this way? Or why is it cut this way? It all works out. So I need to iron this too. Okay, ruffles are hemmed. And then to attach them, it's not going to be seen on the front. I'm going to try to save this cream thread. Adding the ruffle to the sleeve. Okay, I finished the sleeve the right way and added the little ruffle. I think it just needs to be pressed so it sits a little flatter, but it's pretty cute. And now I need to take out the other side. I bet my overall buckles are all jingly. So I've started to take out that seam I'm trying to be as gentle as I can because it's already fraying the linen quite a bit, but I'm just gonna take it slow and watch some YouTube videos. I like to watch my sister's channel and my mom's channel. I've shared about both of those on here before. And then I also like to watch sewing videos. My favorite channels are Rosary Apparel and the Essentials Club. She hasn't posted in a while, but I love her videos whenever she does. And I'm just now realizing that I think what those two channels have in common is that they're both like international. They both have accents. I think one's from Australia and one is from New Zealand. So there must be something about that that I enjoy. I would love to know if you guys have favorite sewing channels that maybe I don't know about. It's hard to imagine that I don't know about some of them, but YouTube is just so big, so it's definitely possible. Finishing up the sleeve, I've got the cuff worked out, kind of. It's going to be very gathered. That's the width of the sleeve. Fits into this tiny little cuff. So I have to gather it all up and then distribute the ruffles evenly. All right, lastly, I have the bottom hem. It's all pinned in place, and I'm just hoping that I have enough of my cream thread left. I'm gonna clean up a little bit. Alrighty guys, that is the blouse all done. It really was a pleasure to make. I felt like now that I've made it once, I could make it really quickly a second time. And any error that I like ran into or did incorrectly was definitely my own. There wasn't anything in the pattern that was really confusing. The pattern is put together so beautifully, and I think the outcome is very beautiful as well. Let me know what you think below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if I should make another one, in what color? Maybe like a solid cotton. I think that'd be really fun. Or a ditzy floral. I think I would leave the ruffles off next time just to leave it a little more simple. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on the matter. Thank you so much for watching. Check out Golden Sky Patterns. Can't recommend them enough. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.